I'm sure there's a fair share of you who have seen my video from a few months ago where I ranked every Deftones album on a tier list. No, I don't have dementia. That video is not only outdated in terms of my opinions, but it's also just unorganized and unenthusiastic. Is that a word? So I decided I was going to update that old video and rank all their albums on a tier list again. I'm also doing this because my video about the self-titled album is my most popular by a landslide. I did not expect it to get any recognition in the slightest, which means I really got to step up my game and give you guys the best content I can make. Thanks for supporting that video, and let's finally get into the ranking of every Deftones album from Adrenaline through Private Music, not including B-sides or rarities or covers. Alright, let's start with Adrenaline, Deftones' first full-length album, and opinions on it are extremely varied among fans. Some people don't like this album because it's too rough and they would go on to do much better. Other people think this is one of their best works and love the raw and energetic sound it goes for. Personally, I fall into the latter. I don't really have a least favorite on this album if we're not counting Fist. The youthful energy keeps me hooked all the way through, and every track is hella good and doesn't overstay its welcome. Bored is a great opener and sets the tone very well with Chino's low-range, high-range, and screaming vocals. Tracks like Engine Number 9, 7 Words, and Root have a ton of energy and make you want to break shit. Minus Blindfold, Birthmark, Lifter, and 1 Week are extremely groovy and are headbangers for sure. Nosebleed and For Real have a lot of ambition and passion for this band's first record. Overall, Adrenaline is a great debut and a great listen from front to back, so we'll put it in S tier. Already off to a great start, let's see if it gets any better. Around the Fur is not only my favorite Deftones album, but it's in my top 5 favorite albums of all time. This album perfected everything in terms of production. The guitar tone, the drums, the bass, the effects on Chino's voice and his lethal screams. Everything about this album is just so perfect. My Own Summer is a great opener with its high-pitched snare sound and Chino's dynamic vocal performance. Labia is one of their most underrated tracks and a highlight for me personally. Mascara shows that this band was capable of softer tracks. And the title track, Die the Flu, and MX are literally songs to bang to. Die the Flu being my favorite Deftones song of all time. Lotion, Rickets, and Head Up are all aggressive songs that take no breaks. And I also can't forget to mention that this album is home to one of their greatest songs to date, Be Quiet and Drive. I'm also not going to neglect the hilarious bong hit and the highly underrated hidden track Damone. This album is not only Chino's favorite, but mine for many reasons, and will continue to be one of my all-time favorite albums ever made. Easily top of SS tier. White Pony is the album many people consider to be their greatest. The songwriting is very dynamic and varied without the album being too inconsistent. Not counting the watered-down version of Pink Maggot, Back to School, Fady Sarah is a great opener with some of Abe's best drumming. Am I saying it right? I don't really. Digital Bath, Knife Party, Passenger, Change, and Pink Maggot all make me feel like I'm ascending with how dreamy and beautiful they are. RX Queen and Teenager show that Deftones can make songs that sound different from anything they've ever made in the past. Street Carp, Korea, and Elite show that Deftones still had that primal energy from the last 2 albums. This isn't my favorite Deftones album of all time, but I can easily see why people love it so much. I'll just put it right below in Adrenaline and S tier, because this is my personal biased opinion, and if you don't like it, you can keep sucking on your mom's tit, then that's perfectly fine, and I respect your opinion. Self-Titled is one of the most underrated albums. I mean, obviously, I made a whole video on the album, so I'll be brief. This album is more muddy, raw, and heavy compared to White Pony. Hexagram, When Girls Telephone Boys, and Bloody Cape are all heavy as shit and have some of Chino's most primal screams. Needles and Pins, Moana, Good Morning Beautiful, and Battle Axe are also great tracks as well. And Deathblow and the iconic Minerva make me feel like I'm floating through outer space. Anniversary of an Uninteresting Event is one of the most beautiful songs to date, and Lucky You takes a massive shift in direction from the sound of the rest of the songs on this album. Overall, Self-Titled is a great listen if you're into heavy and honest albums, so I'm going to put it right below Around the Fur in SS tier. Saturday Night Wrist is also a very dark and honest album, while focusing more on their shoegazy sound rather than the raw and heavy sound from Self-Titled. I'm just gonna say that this album is damn near perfection. This album has some of their best songs and most beautiful to date. Hole in the Earth, Cherry Waves, Xerxes, Kim Dracula, and Riviera are all some of the most dreamy and greatest Deftones songs to date. Rapture and Rats 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 are most aggressive and heavy songs on this album. And Beware mixes those two elements very well and is one of my favorite Deftones songs ever. Mine is also a great song and is well known for featuring Surge from System of a Down. Pink Cell Phone is infamous for its ending, but people forget that the rest of the song is actually very unique, and honestly, I think Pink Cell Phone was overhated. The instrumental Konami Code track is also worth mentioning with its The instrumental Konami Code song is also worth mentioning with its very relaxing sound. Saturday Night Wrist is honestly some of their best work and deserves to go right below Around the Fur and SS tier. Diamond Eyes was my favorite album of theirs for a while, and I still think it's absolute perfection. This album was Deftones truly finding their modern sound and perfecting it. The whole album is really consistent and keeps you engaged. It actually ends really quickly. I can't really pull out any songs because they're all great. I mean, I should mention that Beauty School is my favorite of the bunch, and every song is a highlight here really, and the production is just hella clean. There's not a lot to say about Diamond Eyes that hasn't been said already, so I'll leave it. Below Saturday Night Wrist and SS tier. Jesus Christ, does Deftones have any weak albums? Guys. Alright. First hot take of the video. No Yokan is not one of their best albums. This isn't rage bait. No, this isn't me trying to convince you that you shouldn't like it, because there really is a lot to like. It's just not really my cup of tea, personally. The first 5 tracks are all perfection and all deserving of the love they get, but this album kind of falls off in the second half. Tempest and Gauze are great songs, I guess, but they drag just a little bit. Rosemary is their most overrated song in my opinion. It's honestly just way too long and doesn't justify its almost 7-minute runtime. Graphic Nature, Goon Squad, and What Happened to You literally make me feel nothing anytime I listen to them. Considering that I only returned to half of this album, I can't really put it any higher than B tier. Yeah, I know. Man, I can't wait to see my subscriber count drop. Like how I was dropped by my parents as a baby. Gore is, how do I say this? It sucks. Gore is everything I don't want a Deftones album to be. This isn't just me trying to jump on the bandwagon either. It's just straight up not a good album. The production on this album is just weak. Some moments on this album make me audibly laugh, like the stock sound at the end of Acid Hologram. Or the opening riff to Xenon. Ugh, Xenon, fuck. The only highlights on this album for me are Prayers Triangles, Hearts Wires, and Phantom Bride. Everything else on this album can lick my tip. This album has no right existing, and this album could have easily been advertised as scrap dogshit demos from No Yokan. And I just got done saying less than positive things about that record. Best way I can describe my feelings of Gore in 3 words is, fuck the shit. C tier. Oh my god, I needed this. I used to think Ohms was amazing, now I just think it's really good. Don't get me wrong, I don't think there's a single bad song on Ohms, and the production from Terry Date is just really impeccable on this album. But it doesn't blow my mind either. This album is just Deftones doing their thing, nothing more, nothing less. There's no Xenon on here, but there's no Digital Bath, so yeah. Considering this came right after Gore, this was a much needed breath of fresh air for me and a lot of other fans. Not really any songs to talk about on this album because none really jump out at me unlike some of their early works. This album is probably their most inoffensive album along with Diamond Eyes, while not really being as good in my opinion. Best spot I could put Ohms is A tier. Private Music, the last album we have to talk about. This is easily the best Deftones album since Diamond Eyes. The production is a little fucked, but the songwriting more than makes up for it. My Mind is a Mountain is one of their best openers, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. Infinite Source and Milk of the Madonna are some of my favorite songs from them ever. Locked Club, Metal Dream, Souvenir are also great songs. Ectasis, Cut Hands, and CXZ Give Off Energy are their earlier albums. And I Think About You All the Time is a great ballad. Departing the Body is one of their weakest closers, however. Not terrible, but it doesn't really do anything to blow my mind. Better closer than fucking Rubicon, though. Overall, I think this album is just really damn good. It's not mind-blowing, but 30 years since their debut? This album sounds great considering how long they've been a band. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of S tier. Thus concludes the album ranking. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you want to see a public execution of me? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. Make sure you join my Discord server, which will be linked in the comments. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope your pillow is cold and your blanket is warm. Actually, you know what? Fuck this shit. Gore is literally SS tier. All these other albums suck balls. I literally hate it. Actually, you know what? Gore is S tier along with Gore. Gore and Gore are the best albums. Like, who cares about the rest of them? Gore is better than Gore, but, like, still, Gore is amazing. I love Gore.